Alright, so welcome back to another video. I've played this Friedman guitar, I think once or twice on a previous video since I got it. And I want to talk a little bit about it today. I got this guitar at NAMM. We were right next to Friedman. They let us borrow several guitars, and they all sounded great. I picked this one up, had a bender in it, played a few chords, and I'm like, wow, that really sounds good. It sounds good, like resonating. It felt good. And plugged it through an amp, and I'm like, man, this guitar, I've got to take this guitar home. So I don't usually buy guitars at NAMM. It just happened that this guitar just had that something. I don't know what to call it. Just it felt good to play. It has a bender by Joe Glaser, so it's an original Joe Glaser bender. This one's a B, but the cool thing about this bridge, the way he does it, you can actually make it a G pretty easy. It's a really cool system how Joe does these. And when you bend it, it's got a really good snap compared to some other benders I've played that are a little spongy, for lack of a better word. But a little bit about this guitar. It's basswood. I think the neck is maple, I believe. It's got a bit of a relic'ing, so it actually feels like an old worn-in neck. It feels really good. The finish itself is a bit relic'd, and I know people don't like the relic'ing stuff. I actually do, because for a couple reasons. One of them being that it feels like, you know, when you get a new pair of shoes and they're like really tight and they just don't feel broken in yet. That's kind of how I feel about brand new guitars. They just feel stiff. And when they're relic'd, I really don't care what they look like. I just like how they feel. When they're relic'd, if they're done good, they just feel like a good worn-in pair of shoes. So this neck, I believe Grover said is like a 7 to 10 radius, but it's a special shape. So it's not really like a traditional shape that you can find, you know, from a parts store or something like that, from StewMac or whatever. Grover and Dave collaborate to make these guitars one by one. They are plecked, I believe. So yeah, there you go. But let's see, pickups, good single coils. It sounds a lot like, to me it sounds more like maybe an early 60s type of sound, especially with these pickups in this guitar, and the bridge with the cool bender and everything. So anyways, let's play a little bit through it, and we'll discuss it. So my clean tone, I'm going through a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe right now, and here we go. All right, and on let's go to my neck, my second favorite position. So good snap, good sparkle to it. A little quacky, which I actually kind of like in a Telecaster. So some Telecasters I've played before kind of have just this, I want to say like a cardboard feeling to them. I don't like some of them, and that's probably why I like Telecasters so much. Is when you find good ones, they always have like a personality. It just they sound right and they feel good. So I wouldn't say this is like, I don't know what to really compare it to. It does feel like an old Tele, but it's also kind of its own thing, which is really, it's just really wonderful. The bender I was telling you about, it has a little dial here, so you can kind of dial in exactly what you want it to bend up to. I got it bending to a whole step, so basically you're just pulling on this apparatus and it bends that note. So you can do some cool bends like through chords. So a very cool thing. And let's throw a little dirt on it. So this is a modified blues driver that I've got. It's kind of more of a distortion. And then stock, I think that's a stock SD1 Boss. So throw a little blues driver on it. And then we'll throw a little super overdrive on it. All right, so a little bit more about this. I think I mentioned this. I don't know. Maybe I'm regurgitating something I said a minute ago. But Dave Friedman and Grover Jackson collaborate on these. Grover builds them. Dave specifies, I don't know exactly how it works. I assume Dave specifies what he wants. Grover kind of builds it according to what Dave wants, but according with, Grover's built guitars forever, and he knows more about guitars than a lot of people do. So how would I compare it to my other guitars? Again, it's different. It's like trying to pick a favorite kid. I don't really have, like, the Whitfields are really cool. They sound really good. My actual Fenders, to be honest with you, I've got a 52 reissue and I don't even know, a Mexican something or other. They don't feel nearly as good as this or the Whitfields. So you've heard me talk about the Whitfields before, but the Friedman, it's just feels so good. So it's really hard to say I like this Telecaster for this particular reasons. It just feels good. It feels different than the other things I have, but in a good way. Still nice and vintagey. Still, it feels like an old guitar, but it's got really cool things that make it stand out from being an old guitar. So I don't know. There you go. Oh, I never did the middle position. Let's throw that middle position in there real quick. Back to that neck. Just love how it's got this, it's almost like a snappy presence right on that neck pickup. It's so wonderful. And also, when you roll it off with a little bit of gain, it cleans up really good. So yeah, all right. So hope you dig it as much as I do. Make sure you check it out at a local store. I know, I'm pretty sure Sweetwater carries these if you're in America. I'm going to assume Tomon and some bigger stores like that carry them as well. So make sure you get in there, check them out. I'm sure you'll love it. So here at the end of the video, I'm going to show some close-ups of the guitar so you can kind of get a feel for what it's looking like, what it, what the little bits and pieces that I'm probably failing to mention. You can check that out. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't, then I'll have Dave or Grover or someone like that answer them. So, all right, cool music at the end. And that's a Henning Pauly phrase, but he says animals at the end. But anyways, cool music at the end while I show cool stuff on video. All right, thanks for watching. See you later.